Okay, we're recording. Welcome, Gail Swanson, to the next evolution of an experiencer.
Hi, Eileen. It's great to be here.
We have been talking and laughing and feeling this very unique joy between the two of us. So,
Definitely.
and it's amazing, and I want people to know that because we might sound a little silly, but we're really having a beautiful celebratory moment of some of the same things that we have shared with each other over the years. A lot of similarities in our recognition of these beautiful beings, let's say. And we're going to get into, how we each describe them. In a lot of cases, we describe them the same. But we're just going to organically explore your life and your experiences that are leading us to this moment in time, this very celebratory moment, because we have done this before. I think it was 2015, in another incarnation of me trying to reach out and find the experiencers of more and having these discussions. And I remember absolutely nothing from that talk, just like I remember nothing from sessions that I do, nothing. It's every new moment, brings forth something beautiful in its own way. So. Okay, so let's just close our eyes and take a few deep breaths so we can feel connected and balanced and safe. As we share more of who we are and speak our truth. I ask that we feel grounded into the earth and also open and receiving of the blessings of this cosmic light that we are connected to in our experiences from the past as well as in this very moment right now, bridging these two and inviting the magic and the unfolding of what wants to be revealed between the two of us. So thank you. Thank you for your willingness to join me, Gail. And the place that I would like to begin.
Oh, do I have to come back now?
Yeah.
Okay.
The place that I'd like to begin with you is maybe to just give us a little bit of grounding and touching into your childhood and or where you first started to notice that something was very different about you and about how you related to the world.
Well, the memory that stands out the most to me, and whenever I speak of it or think of it, I remember it vividly. I couldn't have been more than 3 because my mother was bathing me. She was actually washing me with a washcloth in the tub. And I asked my mother if I was crazy. And I knew that young that I felt everything so intensely that it could be crazy. I don't know, but I asked my mother. I had a mother who was unbelievable. She recognized everything about me, I feel, from the minute I was born. And my mother came in my room every single night, and I could tell her anything in the whole world that I was feeling, and it was just
Wow.
fine and perfect.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and I know that if I didn't have that, I don't know what would have happened to me really.
Yeah.
So, but as far as experiences, many people I know have had experiences since they were children. I don't have any that I recall, except for, which was very odd. My sister and I, she was 3.5 years older than me, and my sister and I had one of those little um, table and chairs, a child's table and chair set. And it was like a formica, and it had a pattern on it, like back in the 50s.
Yeah.
And when I looked at that table, I used to get this very weird feeling. And I used to feel like I was going somewhere else. And it felt weird. That's all I could say. And that's the only odd thing that I can really remember is that table. There was something about that pattern that, made me start to feel a certain way. And maybe then I stopped it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But that was about it. And aside from being very emotional and also feeling like I always knew what was going on with people,
Yes.
like that. And then later on, when I was like, I would have sleepovers, I can always remember saying to my girlfriends, oh, did you ever think about, whatever? And they would say, no, I never thought about that. And I would think, you never thought about that? I would just think, what? Because it's all I thought about, So other than that, I mean, I did feel more emotional and felt like I thought about things that maybe everybody wasn't thinking about, but I fit in. I liked everybody and they liked me. I loved my parents, and I was a pretty happy kid.
This sounds like a fairy tale to me.
I
mean,
guess
that's amazing. I mean, it's amazing because I don't hear this very often at all.
I know. I was very lucky. I was
Yeah.
very lucky.
Well, these are the blessings that you had set up, obviously, for your life, so that you could be here to move through these shifts and changes and be here to support others in doing the same thing. Yeah.
And even my father, who was a real character, I felt adored by my parents. I felt adored by my parents. So I felt, and I feel like I absolutely needed that to survive.
Yeah.
And I know many people who've had, all kinds of, really challenging childhoods with their family. But that's my story.
Yes. Well, I just wanted to get to touch into that, just so we could get a feel for that as a anchor, as we kind of unravel and unfold into this present moment. So you, over the course of your life, you have written a book?
Yes.
One book?
One book.
One
I have
book?
several others that should be written.
I know. I hear you.
That haven't been.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you have written, and what I absolutely love about you and what you produce is that I can directly, resonantly identify with it and feel it when I read your what would you, well, it's mystical poetry, and it's most of the time, if not all of the time, about this divine feminine presence.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So just wanted to go to the beginning and then to more.
That has always been there.
Yeah. And so I'm just really excited about our relationship, and that we have we have both been on, of course, our separate paths with the divine feminine, but also we see it in each other at times, and we're like, oh my goodness, like this is real, and this is something that's so important, right? That we be able to see these mirrors in each other, that this isn't just some crazy me making this stuff up, right? So that's what I've found to be such a blessing in being exposed to your work. So what I'm thank you. So what I'm curious about, and I want to tug on first, is when did you first get introduced to, did you get introduced to the mother, the divine feminine, in religion, in the outer world first? And when did the more direct experiences of it come?
In the outer world first, and the way that it manifested with me, I would say, is that I was always hyper aware of the relationships around me, of the between the masculine and feminine. And I was always, my husband always called me Mama Gail, because I was always, I'd say, I don't know, I was always trying to straighten everything out, I would say, with everyone, because it just was natural to me. Mm-hmm. that the female was all around me, was being suppressed, mm-hmm. in every way.
Yes.
So I was very aware of that. And I would say that that was always present. That's all I can say. I was just so aware of it. Even between my parents, when I got old enough, I was counseling my mother on her relationship. So it was that kind of thing,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Until, I had a spiritual experience, I would say, later on, that made me realize, it's hard to say, should I get into that part of it?
Sure. Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say that such a long story, I don't know where to begin. Well, I got very ill, and I've had many times in my life where I had to give everything up. So that was the beginning of that style, okay, of having to leave the work that I loved and my whole life changing because I was just too ill. And that set me on a path of, looking for alternative ways of healing, because I didn't react very well to the medication they wanted to give me and whatever. So I began looking to meditate, and I wound up meeting a Qigong master, studied with him for many years, and it just started to open me up to like other realities and other, dimensions, and, the things that he could do was so amazing. I could witness them, and the things that were happening to me were just, incredible. The physical was not getting any better at all, but everything else was expanding. And then I started to do shamanic journeying. It was like everything started to be so like in sync, like the synchronicities just kept, Yeah. I read a book about shamanism, and then I saw in a little paper in our town that, the person who was teaching shamanic journeying had studied with the person who just wrote the book, that, you know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. Like,
oh, yeah.
So, it went like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I started to do the journeying, and I would just do it every single day, because I would see lots of stuff from my past lives and all kinds of things. I did have an experience that it seemed like I was in control of the journeys, because I knew how to do it, and and it was all pretty great, and I would write everything down. And then one time I was in a group, and we did a journey, and instead of having the kind of experience I usually had, I went to outer space. And this is one of the things I don't usually tell. And there was a huge silver round, like a ball with like these arms. And anyway, I don't even know why I'm telling this, and they opened my head and did something, I don't even know what, and they put crystals in my eyes. Now, I didn't know who this was, and I didn't ask for it, and I tried to get back, as you know, back into my body and back to, and I didn't journey after that because I just thought I don't know if this was a good thing. I don't know, what, I never really got any information about that ever.
Mhm.
But I don't know, that's an experience. That's an experience that I had that I would say was pretty otherworldly.
Mhm.
And I thought maybe it was a healing at the time because I was still quite ill. I thought, well, maybe it was a healing, but that didn't happen in that regard. So whatever that was, I'm really not sure. But I think it was before that, actually, that I don't remember. I have a terrible time remembering when things happened. I really
So
don't
do
know. I
I.
just don't know what in order they happened. But the beautiful spiritual experience that I had, and oh well, that was connected with some other. I have to connect it. Obviously, I'm supposed to tell this
Okay.
another
Just,
time.
yeah, no rush. Just relax and whatever flows up to
I'm
share.
I'm a very fast talker in general. Okay, so another time, I would say, in that realm of, I was on the beach. We had moved to Florida. I was, everything happened to me in Florida, for whatever reason. This is a very, very unbelievable spiritual area where I live. And now I know I was meant to live here. It's a vortex. It's incredible. And everything started happening to me here. So I was on the beach one night with some of my family, and I just decided to take a walk down the beach. And I had been getting a lot of visions of the diamond. This was many years ago. Everything was connecting with the diamond at the time. And I just decided to sit down at the edge of the water, and my family was way down, further down. And a huge, huge diamond glowing ship, I believe, came out of the water right in front of my eyes. And I didn't get any information or anything, but it was just sort of kind of a diamond confirmation, I would say.
Yeah.
And I had been getting a lot of downloads about the diamond energy, and I was channeling a lot of meditations about the diamond. But prior to that, I had this spiritual experience, which started all of this, which was I was lying on my bed, and I began to see a movie. I had never had any experience like this in my entire life. A movie in front of my eyes, and it was of Jerusalem back at the time of Christ. I was not a religious person. I was raised Catholic, but I didn't buy it. I really didn't. My best friend was Jewish. My grandfather was Jewish. I thought there can't be one religion, and it can't just be one thing. And so, I have stories about that, but anyway, so this movie begins. It's back at the time of Christ, and I'm getting telepathic information as I'm seeing it. And I also, as I'm watching this, I am, I'm doing this. The wind that was coming in was so strong that it made my arms fly up, and this kept going, that, until it was over. And it wasn't very long at all. And I sat up on the edge of the bed and I said out loud, they gave me the breath of the Holy Spirit.
Mm.
That was not my lingo at all.
Mm-hmm.
So, and what I was shown was my connection to Mary Magdalene. And I remember saying to myself, this is so crazy. I can never tell anybody. This is absolutely unbelievable what they showed me. And I didn't even want to tell anybody what I was shown. Mm-hmm. And I came out of my room and my son-in-law was here, happened to be here. And he was raised Jewish, but we had a very, very close spiritual connection. And I said, I'm never going to tell anybody, but I ran up to him and I said, you can't believe what he didn't even know who Mary Magdalene was. And I said, and this is what they told me. And he could feel it. And he said to me, it's true.
Yeah.
And so, and I honestly never had anybody I ever told, I don't know how, they just felt it.
Yes.
They felt it. And they would say, it's true,
Yeah.
So, I mean, I have so many long stories that are so mind-blowing and unbelievable. From that time on, the things that happened were one after the next after the next. That's why I always said I should write a book of what was happening while I was writing the Magdalene book, because what was happening in my world was absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, and beautiful. I just I celebrate all of it with you, and we can bring any of those threads through at any time. But I'd like to go to what I'm being called to ask you is, how did this start to integrate within you and then become the body of work? And your book is called
The Heart of Love, Mary Magdalene Speaks.
Okay.
Because what happened was, after I had the vision, I met someone who was a channel. I had never met anyone who was a channel. I didn't, anyway. And when I started doing it, I didn't even like the word, because I just thought,
me too.
I don't like any kind of, I don't really like labels of any kind, because nothing seems to fit really in. But anyway, he called himself a channel. And what was the question? I lost my train of thought.
How you began to integrate these things?
Oh. Yeah. He said to me, I told him what happened. Actually, it was 3 days after I met him that this happened. He kind of triggered it. He was, kind of a past life thing. And I told him all about it. And he said, you're going to start writing. And I was like, writing what? And he said, you're going to be writing. And so every morning I would like try to listen and see if I could, if I could hear anything. And there was absolutely nothing. It's also, when I think of it now, then I was told about a shrine in Tarpon Springs, Florida. I had been to this town many times, but the shrine isn't like publicly known. It's kind of a word of mouth thing. And somebody said to me, oh, you have to go to the shrine of St. Michael the Archangel. So I went to this shrine, and it was in the shrine that I began to hear. And it was Archangel Michael who showed me, this is what it's going to be like, because I was sitting there and I heard, it was like, then I realized, oh, it's just like you're about to write a letter and you hear your own thoughts. It's not going to be another voice. It's going to be your own. Right. But you're not saying this, of course, later on I realized we are. But at the time, and so then when I began to sit down, this just started to flood in every single morning. And I just started to write and write and write and write and write and write and write. And my husband, who is very Catholic and knows more, like reads the New Testament and all that, which I only remembered it from as a child, you know.
Right.
And I would write things. He would call from work and say, "What did you write today?" And I'd tell him, "Well, I wrote this, that, and the other thing." And he'd say, "Oh my God, this is," you know, he would say that this is true, or would I be? I didn't know. And I read nothing from anywhere else. I just wanted it to come naturally and
Yes.
organically. And then I just kept writing and writing. And then I would tell my, you know, read it to my family and my closest friends, some of them. And everybody kept saying, "What are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with it?" I said, I have no idea. But then I got the guidance that this needs to be a book and please do it right away. And I did. And so those were, you know, at the time, you know, I was having like a lot of anxiety at the time because I didn't understand it. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what to call it. My husband was kind of freaking out because it was so way out there. I mean, he believed every bit of it and still does. We're still together and he believes every bit of it, but it was wild. And at one point he said to me, "Well, I don't want this to be my whole life now." And I said, "It's too late." I said, "There is no going." I mean, it was like a freight train. I said, "There is
Yes.
no going back."
Yeah.
And then we kind of discussed it and tried to figure out, because what I had been shown was hard to take. And and then actually my husband came up with what we got comfortable with. He said, you know, he said, "I think that you're like a spark of Mary Magdalene." And I kind of liked the idea, because I felt like that kind of was it. And I had my little piece that she wanted me to reveal to the world
Mhm.
at that time.
Mhm.
And then it just kept, and then even after the book, you know, it just kept going and going and expanding and expanding and expanding to the photographs, you know.
Mhm.
That, so for me, it was kind of like, you know, as I was telling you before we started, I knew from the very beginning, when I was having all of this stuff with these biblical figures, I just innately knew that they were cosmic beings.
Mhm.
And that, yes, they lived at that time, and, you know, but it was way more than that.
Yes.
And I was aware of it from the very beginning. And then, you know, as I was telling you, I always feel I have these long periods where it, you know, everything is silent, nothing is happening. And I'm like, well, whew, I guess I'm done now. And, you know, I can relax. And then some other unbelievable thing will happen.
Mhm.
And so I don't even remember, like, I think I was just kind of taking pictures at night in my yard for, you know, entertainment purposes,
Mhm.
you know, orbs and whatnot. And I have no recollection of what possessed me to start taking photographs during the day. I don't know.
Mhm.
And then these amazing pictures started to come, and everyone would ask me again, you know, always asking me, you know, "Well, what do you think this is?" Or where do you think that's from? You know, and all I would say is, "I don't know, and I don't have to know. I
Yeah.
only know how they make me feel."
That's right.
And how they make me feel, sometimes I am in tears.
Yes.
I come in the house and I put them on the computer and I'm like bawling, and I just feel, and it was quite a long time into it. I didn't ask. I didn't feel like I needed to know. I just knew it was good and I knew it was wonderful, and I would share them. And what I was told was that it was they're like a symphony of music that goes into all of your cells and can actually change your DNA, and, you know, And also that I didn't need to know this one means this one means that. Put it out there and let everyone have their own experience.
That's right.
And they will get what they need. Sometimes they do tell me. And then it got to the point where I could go and ask for, a certain help,
Mm-hmm.
and it will come.
Mm-hmm.
And then I know what this is, what this is and what this is for. But at one point, I went and took some photographs beneath my favorite tree. I came in and I looked at them and I became completely hysterical. And I mean hysterical. And I started to have the same exact experience that I had when I had the vision all those years ago, which I never had a feeling like that again.
Mm-hmm.
And the 2 photographs that I took, I was shown at that very moment, were emanations of Magdalene and Christ. And then I was told that they were bringing this in. They were bringing these in with others, of course, but so that was the answer.
And they're exquisitely beautiful. Maybe you could describe it a little bit of how it manifested.
I will show you, because I have these from one of my workshops. I don't know if you can see this. Okay, can you see that?
Yes. Yes. Yeah,
So
bring it down just a tad. Yeah.
So that one,
beautiful,
is the Christ one, and this is Magdalene.
How sweet. How sweet that is.
I had never, ever, ever had taken pictures like that ever, and I never have again. That they were unique unto themselves.
Yeah.
And I could feel it immediately.
Yeah.
And they came through and gave me that information. So for me, it was sort of like I started out with these biblical characters, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it just has evolved and expanded to this beautiful communion.
Yes.
Communion.
Yeah. And isn't it fascinating that, you're saying, and I've said this many times before too, I don't have any connection to religion. I mean, I'm not drawn to go to church. I was forced to go to church when I was a child, and it was a very, different kind of church. It was Christian Science. So I didn't have those usual strong markers that, a Catholic would, or, even a Protestant of any kind. It was a very different kind of religion. But I wanted out of it as soon as possible because, and I'm sensing this in you too, it's like you notice that what's being given to you from the outside doesn't match that relationship from within. It's much stronger and direct from within. And so when you see it being explained, and this is probably why you don't like to define things for people, and I don't either, because it's all about the energy. It's all about the frequency of it. Let the energy inform you of what it is for you.
And now you're making me remember, I said when I started to write, I was constantly talking to them. I said, I'll do it, I'll write it, but I will never explain it. I will never give my interpretation of it.
Right.
I will never do it.
Right.
And I never did. It is what it is. And I think that's, now I'm realizing it's the same thing with the photographs,
Yeah.
I'm not interested in I'll have certain things that I feel that are, personal to me, and you should have yours. This is how we awaken.
Right. Yeah, it's the opposite of what we have been. They try to teach this stuff to us with words and language and stories that are passed down and translated a gazillion times. And, there's essence behind all of this. And that is the truth. The truth can only be felt through that essence, right? And awaken us through that essence. So that's we've always shared that view, you and I.
I had a very, I was very angry and rebellious about it all for years, carrying on like a maniac and, you know, and after many years, it took, then I sort of kind of realized that maybe you're just throwing the baby out with the bathwater, like, you're just getting rid of all of it, and I started to soften up a little bit and see aspects of, different things that, that I'm okay with, and I'm okay with, instead of just being, it's not good to always feel, to feel so strong that you know what I mean, that you
Uh-huh.
can't open enough to,
Oh, right.
I was just, against it all. And then I started to just sort of see, some beautiful things that, that I grew up with, you know,
Yes.
that I grew
Yes.
up that are beautiful.
Yes. And how do you relate the illness for so many years with all of, on your journey? How did that fit in? How does that integrate?
Well, that was another thing that has been unbelievable. It has been a very, very challenging. I have been very, very ill. Um, so ill, I have wanted to leave this world. Thought I might have to leave this world, however I do it, because I cannot go on. At the same time, I was shown many, many things about the illness and what I was doing. And with everything, I think that I don't ever want to be so sure that this is it, like with I have to be, I guess, shown in 1,000 different ways. I mean, I shouldn't really say it, because ever since this all happened to me, I have never doubted it. I have never thought I was crazy. I thought, I don't want to do it. I thought, why are you giving this to me? I don't, but I have never, it has always seemed more real to me than my life here.
Yes.
Always.
Mm-hmm.
And it still does.
Yeah.
The illness would take me to places where I would never, ever, even through that, ever not feel that this is all real and this is all true. But, you know, it's a long story. It's a long story. And do you know, I have to tell you that there are aspects of what is going on now that actually remind me of what I've been through, on a, small
Yes.
scale.
Yes.
Um, the sequestering, I mean, this is nothing to me, because this
Mm-hmm.
is what I
Do
do.
you want to say what it is? The illness?
Well, I can get into that, yeah, well, I was misdiagnosed initially, and it turned out to be Lyme disease. I was living in a very high Lyme area, and I was hiking every day. And it's very, very interesting. I had, but it took many, many years for me to like start to get the information on it, because maybe, I don't know. Um, Lyme disease, there's a lot of controversy about that, about how
Yes.
that came about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I was shown a lot,
Mm-hmm.
about where it originated, who it originated by, who was still controlling things now at this time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't have to completely get into it, but, and I have been transmuting that particular energy.
Mm-hmm.
And it it's a lot. It's an evil energy,
Yeah. I
but
know you've had a very, very trying time with all of this. And my heart
well,
goes out to you.
So as just like everything else, that it's just been like this all along.
Yeah.
Just like the spiritual part, oh my God, who's ever going to believe this or whatever? And then this part, who's ever going to believe this?
Who's ever gonna believe
Who's ever going to believe this?
I know.
Nobody, because you're sick. You made yourself sick. You try this, try this, try this, try this.
Yeah.
There isn't anything I haven't tried because I do believe I should try.
Yeah.
But so and also I was shown many times on my own, but I still feel like it's my job to do whatever I can to, overcome it. And, I'm constantly, hopefully working on myself to the best that I can. But even in this, two of the people that I find to be the most, I don't even know what to say, but, there are just a couple of people that in your life that are the truest of true, and such beautiful spiritual beings, and that you've known for so long, and they just keep blossoming, and it never goes wrong or whatever. And that is the healer that I've been going to for 20 years, who you know at some point, you move on from everyone because you're on this path of expansion. But if someone else is expanding, you're
Right.
expanding together. So,
Right.
he just kept expanding.
Mhm.
And if I did not have this person who I could tell anything to and can see who I really am and what is really happening and
Yes.
confirm everything for me, and not only that, but help me.
Mhm.
So, and he told me all along that the illness was part of this spiritual journey of mine. And, and I half believed it, because I just kept thinking, well, I don't know. And then I met someone else who's like a spiritual brother to me. And in the exact same words, he used the exact same words when he met me and told me. He said, this, it goes with your gift. Now, and he said it in the exact same words that had been said to me before. So I was like, how many times do you have to hear it?
Right.
And so what I want to say is there are things that have gone on in my life that seem so odd and so out of the ordinary, and so like like these are the kind of things that happen, years and years ago, back in the day, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly. I know what you mean. Yeah.
and even me, my own mind and my own brain, I would be thinking, look, this can't be.
Can't
Like, it
be.
didn't
I
make
know.
any
This
sense
can't
to
be.
me
It's
at all.
biblical people, people from
Yeah,
ancient
right.
times. Oh, yeah.
Yes,
But not
yeah,
us.
but this can't be happening now. This
Yeah.
is the kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So maybe I should get to my truth then,
Okay. I think that's a great idea.
because it's all intertwined.
Yes, it is.
But I just want to say that I really thank you, Eileen, because honestly, you are bringing the truth out of me, because I always said, oh, I'm never going to be able to tell this because, I couldn't even understand it myself. So how can I even, you know what I mean? Like, I
do.
can't explain it. And it sounds
Yeah.
really, this sounds really crazy, but, maybe I'll read it to you.
Okay.
This is what I wrote. And then if I have to explain, I will.
Okay.
I wrote this after I listened to your video, which I felt to the core of my being was such profound truth. I also knew that you did not want to make this video, and that you did it because you were asked. You were asked. And you did it for the greater good, and you did it. And I thought, the truth is the truth. And then what happened was I thought, well, I just started writing, and I haven't been able to write a thing since this whole, I don't even like to talk about the word, but this whole thing has started. I haven't been able to write a thing, and
Mhm.
nothing's really been coming in. It's been like a dead zone, right? Until I saw your video, and I just started writing this as if I was going to make it public, which I had no intention of making it public.
Mhm. Mhm.
And just by writing it, I started to see more of what it really was. So this is what I wrote.
Okay.
This was May 17th, after watching your video. I have had a most fascinating journey filled with miraculous events and heart-wrenching challenges. However, the deepest story I have not told. There are only a handful of people who know my story. I have often wondered if the time would ever come where my story could not only be told but understood. I have had divine revelations and visions that have felt more real than anything in this world, and yet have been almost impossible to comprehend. I have been blessed to meet along the way several divine beings who not only recognized my story but validated it. This incarnation feels like a throwback to other incarnations and at the same time is resonating in the future. Of course, right? Of course, that is within the parameters of time as it is perceived here, when in reality there is no time and therefore all is one. Some of the aspects of what I have experienced seem to be the kinds of things that we believe do not exist in this time and space and are only found in old stories of long ago. That was my belief, but over decades of living this incredible story, I know that absolutely anything is possible. My connection to Mary Magdalene and Jesus has been nothing I ever could have imagined, and though I have a broad view of spirituality, absolutely everything has always come back to Magdalene and Jesus. Not only do they aid me in the highest view, they ground me to be able to live this story, to balance this story, and to survive this story. I have also been blessed with an entourage of divine beings who have aided me from the very beginning when the first vision began this life-changing journey. Still, many times my earthly experiences have been unbearable, for this is why we are here, to experience it all and to never forget what lies beyond all this, no matter how hard it becomes. The loneliness alone can be so unbearable that all you wish is to be taken back home. But what if after all this, it is time to tell the truth, even though you never hear anyone else speak the same truth? What if this is the time? What if your truth can unlock truth after truth after truth for person after person after person? What if I told you my truth? What if I told you that once on a holy pilgrimage, I fell and heard a voice say, Jesus falls for the third time. And as I heard this, I saw him as he fell, and I saw myself falling, and it was all one and the same. And what if I told you that many years later, I had a very bad fall, and this time had a vision of Jesus falling and me falling in unison with him, and this time I could feel every single thing he felt as we fell together, and it was happening throughout all time? What if I told you that I once saw Jesus and he was transmuting everything, and I was shown myself in parallel to him, transmuting the same things? What if the divine ones are in need of our help and it's not the other way around? What if it's all so upside down we can barely recognize what is true? What if the truth is we are divine partners working together as one throughout all time and all space? What if this is the time to speak your truth, no matter how long you have been hiding it? What if the time is now? There is power in just writing this down, because here and now I can see much more than I could before. The truth is pure. The truth magnifies our vision.
I'm just speechless, Gail.
I got the chills.
And that is such a gift to me. And we give this gift to each other, that we're not alone, that this is real, and it's more real than anything that we were told was life, and what we were told was important. All the values, everything is upside down.
Yes.
Everything that we're valuing here, just that alone.
Totally, totally. And, you know, I couldn't even see that the last vision of the bad fall that I had happened not long ago at all. Like, kind of, and there was even more, you know, I went through it. It's just unbelievable.
You're just, I just want to say, you're just a brilliant writer in how you can articulate this. And I thank you and I honor you for that. It was so perfect. Everything, the way you articulated it, it's so perfect. Thank you.
Well, you inspired me, Eileen, to, you know, I just was walking around like, you know, I don't even know what this is all about. But I also had a revelation when I wrote that, which I didn't write about, but before this whole quarantine and everything started, like for a good 6 months, could have even been a year, I don't even know. I was like the sickest I've ever been. I didn't think I was going to even just make it. And what I saw then was I was already processing what's happening now.
Yeah.
And I kept wondering, because ever since this sort of started, I have been much better physically. And yeah, it's very interesting. Very interesting. I mean, it's not gone or anything, but it's not, I'm not on death's door like I was for, you know, so long.
Right.
And while I wrote this, because that's what I was saying, the truth magnifies your vision, because I was even just allowing myself to write down my truth, and whatever I do with it, you know, but I also knew that I was going to be speaking with you, and that I can't like just tell part of the story, you know.
Right.
And I have been doing that for so long, because just, you know, and you know, I'm a very strange person. I feel like, you know, you know,
compared to what?
I don't know. I mean, you know, I hardly ever come out. Like you know, there's a beautiful spiritual community here and a lot of lovely people. And, you know, it's almost when they see me, it's like, oh, she's still alive.
Yay, she's still alive.
And then, you know, I always
fire that Gail.
Yes, when I'm invited anywhere, you know, you can't even imagine what it took for me to even be able to get to the point where I would say, I cannot make a commitment.
Yeah.
If I'm okay on that day, I'd be happy to come. But if you need to have an answer, I can't give you one. And I would never do that before. I would just torment myself.
Right.
You know?
And because it is the nature of that dis-ease that you just don't know, right? You could have a day where it's like, hey, I'm kind of okay, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Or a time period. But do you want to say the area that you keep referring to, where, you know, the spiritual area of Florida?
Sarasota, Florida. And I did not want to move to Florida. But we had about 20 different things that happened that, you know, prompted that to happen.
Of course.
And we took a trip to Florida, and we looked on both coasts. We looked at every town there is, and I cried the whole way. My husband wanted to move to Florida, would love to move to Florida. I'm like,
Yeah. No.
I hate it. Oh no, I would like, I was laying in the back seat. I would poke my head up. Hate it. I hated everything. Hate it. I knew right away. Hate it. Hate it. Hate it. Right. He thought this is never going to happen. She is never going to go for this.
Yeah.
And we pulled into the marina area of Sarasota.
Yeah.
I sat up and I said, okay. Oh, I felt it.
You had to feel it, right? You had to feel it.
And
yeah.
you know, there's many people have that story about
Yeah.
coming. Many people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard very good things about the area. Yeah.
The beach here is crystal.
Yeah.
All crystal.
Yeah.
So I spent a lot of time on that beach. Therefore, this is where everything happened to me. I was meant to be here.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep this, like an hour or a little over, because it just feels like so much has been opened, within me and in relation to you. And I just want to say that what I'm seeing with the evolution of an experiencer is that everything that we went through in whatever kind of combination in our lives, like, just amazed to see that in your life, you always had that beautiful support and mirroring every step of the way.
Uh-huh.
But you also had to deal with this devastating illness.
Yes.
So you got all of that support. You got your support, because it was known that you were going to have to go to the depths in this way. You were going to be, just everything on the line, and transformation after transformation, and understanding after understanding. For my life, and for most that I talk to, so far, it's been that I have very little support, very little mirroring, until I started being brave enough to talk about it, and then the mirrors started coming forward. And you're one such beautiful soul that I put into that category. But it seems now that, and what you so beautifully articulated in that piece that you wrote recently, I believe this is kind of making this exclamation point in my life, that it's about this now moment. I have also had the reverberations of the past and the reverberations of the future. I feel like it's almost like this infinity number, the 8, and we're kind of vibrating here in the center and waking up with everything and integrating everything now, all these pieces of who we are, including the cosmic beings, right?
Yeah.
And that this is our time to truly awaken. And that's what this awakening is to remember that we are the divine. We are integrating this and exploding with it.
And I can remember, like, bit by bit, this happening sort of naturally, because, when I was channeling Mary Magdalene, whatever, I got to the point where I was like, I just realized that it just all became one to me, like it just all became one. I didn't even want to put a name on that,
God, I know.
Although still, sometimes, like, sometimes it just happens, like the Joan of Arc, like sometimes it will just happen, but very rarely, because I'm not like looking for it, and I'm not, to me, it's just all one. But sometimes they just have something to say, and,
And it's framed
and
very clearly.
very
Okay,
clearly.
this frame works for
Very
this
clearly,
that we're
and
going to pour
I
in.
know it is, but for a while there, I was sort of resisting, I think, all of it, because I kind of felt like this is, I just didn't want anything in a certain, I felt like when it was coming in and I had to do it and I had to do it and had
Yeah.
to do it, like I wasn't going to go looking for it after, you know what I mean? Like it just had to be natural.
I do know what you mean. And here's another piece of where I was going with the evolution of an experiencer. What I have finally come to see is that the reason we were so resistant to defining it in this world is because it's not for this world.
No, exactly.
It's for the one we are now creating, entering into, resonating into.
Yes.
And you don't need the little words and definitions and explanations in this reality.
No, because it's just like, when me listening to your video and.
Now, which video are you referring to? Which?
Well, both of well, I don't know.
I did
one,
2 in a row. Yeah.
2 in a row. The 2 in a row.
Yeah.
Oh
Boom.
my God. I was like, oh my God. It was just an experience, it was just an experience, and that's how it's supposed to be. You don't have to, you're just being. You're just being, and it can be felt, and it will be felt by whoever is supposed to feel it. You can count on that. And look what's happening. Like you don't even know. I'm maybe that's why I was so giddy. Well, first of all, I still feel like I'm going unconscious this whole time. I could like lay down and fall asleep right away. Like this has put me I'm trying to stay awake. But,
Thank you.
But also you have put me unconscious. But also I'm so delighted because I witnessed your journey all along. And I know, just like, I've had to suffer physically, and I know you've had to suffer like that. And I've watched you just keep going and keep going and keep going no matter what. And now look, they're coming. They're coming. They're coming.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. I'm like covered in chills from it.
Yeah.
I really am. It's just wonderful.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. And you're
Such
inspiring. So you can just forget all that shit that you went through.
Thanks, Gail.
Really, because look at this, and you have to give your own personal self the credit, because you kept going.
I did keep going, and I do definitely feel the blessings of not resisting it anymore, because that's what it is really, is it's like, yeah, I can't explain you to anybody, so stop, I can't.
Yeah.
And so then we end up saying stop to this glorious love and presence, because we can't explain it to people.
Yeah. And
how effing insane is that?
And mine was, oh God, you're giving me all of this, and I'm as sick as a dog, and I can't even go out there and do what I'm supposed to do. But this is what I think I'm supposed to do. I think I'm supposed to, and every time I would get back out there, I have to come back in again. I would say, if you want me out there, you have to give me the strength to do it.
Exactly.
And then I'd get it for a little while, and then, oh no, she's going back in the cave again. And then I would have to surrender, and I would have to say, okay, just like everything else, this is not what I think.
That's right.
I think I have to be giving a workshop. I have to be showing it. I have to be, well, then I think it would be different. So
yes. Yeah.
That.
It's going to show us how it wants to manifest, not only through us, but when this occurs and is occurring for many more people, we have to adapt to, it transcends the ego. The ego thinks I'm supposed to do it this way, and it's supposed to fit into the world as we've always known it, like this. And that's why I had so much trouble with
it. In the timing that we want.
Yes,
And it's
exactly.
never, it's an eternity, the timing for us, it feels like, right?
Right, right.
An
And then
eternity.
also the money part of it. And then here's
Oh,
how you structure your fucking business. You know, it's
oh,
like, I'm sorry, I
oh,
cursed.
no, I curse all the time. I used to say to myself, maybe I'm charging too much. Maybe I'm charging too little. Maybe I'm, you know what,
Oh
I,
God.
and
And
I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm just going to say donation because I can't stand it for
same
nothing.
here. Same
I'm like,
here.
if you're not going to help me out in this, if you're, and
Right.
I have done this, and nothing happens,
Yep.
I'm done.
It's
I'm
not for this old world.
no,
It's for
no,
now moving forward.
right.
And this is the part where we don't have all the answers. We don't have it all being told to us because we have to flip that and it goes through us and shows us how this is done.
Yeah.
And I see this so clearly now.
Yeah.
It's just trusting. Oh my God, the trusting, the faith. I mean, you talk about faith.
Yeah.
Oh,
And the surrendering.
surrendering
How many times have you
faith.
said, I surrender? How many times have you said, I surrender?
Oh God.
Oh,
If I had a nickel for every time. Right.
exactly, exactly. I surrender. And I used to walk around and say, for years, I walked around and I would say, when I was shown what I was battling,
Yeah.
what I was really bad. And then, you have all these people that don't believe in evil and they don't believe in, whatever. And, I don't even like to label that, but there's something very dark
Oh,
and
very.
something very sinister going on.
Very much so.
And I've seen it and I was shown it and
Yep.
everything else.
Yep.
And I'd be like, I am not, I'd be like saying out loud,
Yeah.
you will not get me. I am. God, oh my God, the insanity.
Oh God, I love you so much, Gail.
Oh, the insanity. I'd be like, oh my God,
The kind of
I will
lies.
do whatever you ask me, but oh my God. Really,
Oh,
it's so, oh God. And I've told this much of this crazy story, but obviously the main points came out.
yes. No, and there's no way that we can cover all of this in just one of these talks. And and I love to invite you into any future discussions, when we get together and we just share what we see and know, and from our own ways of knowing. So you're always welcome to come into that kind of a discussion
Thank
as well
you.
in the
Thank you.
future.
See, I was feeling like, oh, they all have a certain thing, and I have
Nope, they don't have a certain thing. They
no,
don't all
I
have a
know
certain,
that. I know.
yeah.
I was telling myself a story.
Yeah, you sure were. Yeah. And
Yeah.
it worked for a while, but not
Yeah.
anymore. Well, let's close this, Gail, because
Okay.
I don't want it to go too long, because there's this certain spot where people go, oh, I don't want to watch that. It's
Yeah.
too
Yeah.
long.
Yeah.
know.
Okay. I get
But
it.
let people know, and I will put this link in the notes below, but where can people find you?
Uh, theheartoflove.com.
Theheartoflove.com. Okay. Bless you.
And I'm
Bless you for being you, for mirroring these aspects of me. Um, you know, it just helps strengthen me just to speak with you, just to talk with you, because I'm
and
not alone,
you
and that's
me and have all along from the day. I don't remember when we found each other, but I always knew you were out there, and I always,
same here.
I would always feel like, oh, she's there.
Yes. It helps so much. It helps so much,
It does.
especially in the really, really darker times and
Mhm.
heavier times and scarier times.
Yeah.
It's yeah. But it doesn't at all. It just always makes us go inward more. It forces us inward. And
Yeah.
that's what's happening now with this collective near-death experience. It's like it forces you to go inside, and people are resisting. I'm watching all of the symptoms of resisting going within, right?
Yeah.
You have this amazing opportunity to go within. Yes, lots of people are losing their lives. They're leaving, they're transforming, leaving the planet. there is no such thing as death once you see and experience the bigger picture view. So the pain is experienced with the families. Yes, that's a real thing. Grieving is a real thing. But this is transformation time. We're either doing it losing our bodies, or we're going to do it staying here in our bodies, and we keep going just like we've been doing our whole lives. It's like, okay.
It's been hard here all along, if you ask me. Like,
Oh, geez.
God,
tell me about it.
Yes. Why did I decide to come back here?
I know. Just get me out of here so many times, screaming, just get me out of here. But now, it was worth it.
Even now, you mean it, there's always that. I feel so lucky and so blessed.
Me
I always
too.
tell people who don't have this to connect to
remember. Yeah, they haven't remembered yet,
or they just don't remember it. Yeah, of
Yeah.
course, don't remember it. I just don't know what I would do, because it this is what sustains me from going completely crazy.
Same here.
Or whatever you want to call it. And still, it's hard here.
It's hard, but this is shifting. This is changing. This is changing. And we did not live these really difficult lives to get to a place of, oh, well, what the hell was that for? No, we're just starting.
Oh, no, I will be so mad.
Me too. Look out. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
All right, Eileen. Bless you.
Sorry, I had to do that. So thank you so much. I honor you. Bless you for being you. And I look forward to the next time we can connect.
You see my t-shirt?
What does it say? Divine, of course. Oh, that is awesome. Where did you get that?
Online.
Of course.
Divine Feminine shirt.
Yes, awesome.
Right.
Divine Feminine on Amazon, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Get yourself.
Until next time. Right. You take care.
Pronounce it and announce it.
That's right.
Okay.
She is here.
She is here. All right. Love you so much.
Love you too, Gail.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.